and welcome to the Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast for Montclair's local yarn store. Today I have a special treat for you. I'm interviewing Edith McDonald, who's a competitive knitter. Now, Edith has been coming to Yarnia since we opened and has even contributed some of her own pieces to be samples in the store. But I was super intrigued after I started talking to her about her long career involvement with the state fair in New Jersey, entering her knitted pieces into the state fair, competing, getting judged, and winning blue ribbons. So I thought that would be something you guys would be interested in too. First, let's look at some footage from the fair, and then let's talk to Edith. First thing is hi Edith, I know you, but none of our viewers know you. Well, I mean, some may. Some, but, yeah, the fortunate few may. But why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself. Okay. A little bit how you started knitting. What do you enjoy now? And yeah, introduce yourself to our viewers.
All right. Hi, I'm Edith McDonald. I currently live in Pennsylvania, out by Harrisburg, but I used to live in Clifton, which is how I started hanging out at Yarnia, whether they wanted me to or not. And
It was good. It was always great.
yeah, so
We missed
I've
you.
actually been knitting longer than I can remember. My mother was so happy to finally have a girl that she taught me when I was 3.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So I used to knit for the longest time. I mean, probably up until maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I would actually take my needles, take the yarn, and go like this, like a 5-year-old, because that's the way I learned to knit. And I was still very fast. It wasn't that I wasn't fast doing it. But I did kind of teach myself to wrap the yarn around my finger and just kind of, do more of it's still technically throwing. It's not picking because I'm not picking with the other needle. But now I'm even faster than I was.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, which is kind of scary a little bit. But yeah, I basically grew up in the Bridgewater area for probably 40 years. I lived there, in between going to college and all that other stuff. But I was right in that area for the longest time, Somerset, Hunterdon County. And then when my parents and my brother moved out here to Pennsylvania first, and then my parents moved out, so I got an apartment up there in Clifton and was there for, I don't know, 5 years, I guess. And then my job took me out here to Pennsylvania. So I started doing fairs.
Yeah, tell me about that, because
2010 or I actually started doing I started putting things in for cross stitch.
oh, okay.
That's how I started with the fairs. And
You're
then
the only customer I've ever known at Yarnia who competed with their knitting, which really speaks to me because I'm a very A-type competitive person. And I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
I can get judged and get better.
Yeah.
But that's my maybe I say it's my weird quirkiness, but I think there's a lot of people like
Oh
me
yeah.
who really enjoy like that little competitive bit of it. I mean, it's fun, and of course, none of us, it's not our job to like knit to be judged, but it's like it's not. It doesn't go on your permanent record for high school. You know
No,
what I mean?
no. And the thing is, it is, and I kind of, you and I kind of talked about it offline a little bit. There's a difference in the way things are judged depending on the show that you're in. And you have juried shows where the judges have gotten credentialed for judging needlework and knitwear and that kind of thing. And there are shows where it's more, you get the ladies of the local knitting group together and they judge what they like. And you usually do get, and you'll see it if you decide to go into it a little more. If you look on my Ravelry page, I tagged several of my items winner. So if you look at I'm AC Gypsy on Ravelry, by the way. And if you look at my projects, I tag them winner. And in the ones where I actually had my brain together, it'll show the ribbon and it will show the card. There's a card that will show the judging and the comments. And sometimes some of those are okay. You're like, oh, all right, I see what they're doing and I see what they're getting at. And it helps you know what they're looking for. And other times, not so much. There's a shawl that I did. It's called number 16 semicircle. It's a Vogue pattern, and I will just show it up just real quick. It's a lace oval kind of pattern with a nice knitted on border.
Those are my favorites,
And it's done with haiku sueño, which is a bamboo blend. And it's got, look at that drape. It's gorgeous. But it's heavy enough, it's got some body to it. They thought the yarn choice was poor. And like, okay, it's their, at that point, it's their opinion.
Right.
So it's a shawl that I'm going to wear, that I do wear. And I actually enjoyed knitting it until I ran out of yarn. And it was actually a Petaboo yarn to start with. And then they sold the formula to Haiku, and Haiku re-released it as Sueño. So I kind of had to wiggle around, but the color matches so well, I can't tell. I ran out on the border. I can't tell where I started with the new yarn. So yay.
Perfect.
But one thing I can say is if you've got something interesting or eye-catching, that's even more what they're looking for. So what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, so tell us about that first show you did. How'd you get into it? What made you even think about starting?
Well, I was always, well, for cross stitch, I was always, I've been cross stitching since college. I can't do it anymore because arthritis is a thing. But I was always going to the Flemington Fair. I used to, when I lived, like in that area.
And Flemington, for those of our viewers who don't know, Flemington is like, if you look at New Jersey, it's in the north, or it's like in the western New Jersey, right?
It's in the western part that kind of sticks out.
Yeah.
But like there's Warren County is the one that the pointy part that kind of sticks out. Pointy part.
Yep.
And then Hunterdon is just in from Warren.
Right. So, and there's a lot of farmland there. There's a lot of 4-H. Yeah.
Yeah. Flemington is actually the county seat of Hunterdon County. So, I think, and I'm not positive, but most of the counties in New Jersey do have their own county fairs. I know Warren has one, Hunterdon has one, Burlington has one, Monmouth has one. I don't know about Passaic. It might. I don't know. That's Passaic. That's where we're at, right? Yarnia.
That's where Clifton is, right north. Okay. You're in Essex.
You're in Essex. See, I don't know where Central Jersey girl, but the northern counties. When I was growing up, that was New York. So we're much more urban here than in Hunterdon and Warren and Monmouth. Right.
And all those. Yeah.
Right. And even Sussex. Sussex is North Jersey, but it's, it's a horse fair. That's how it started.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It definitely started as a horse fair. And the horse is still big there. But anyway, back to the story about Flemington. So I started really going to Flemington. I started with the cross stitch. I won a lot of ribbons for cross stitch. And I had hurt my neck at one point and really couldn't knit. So it was another creative something that I could do. And then I got my neck fixed, and I had herniated disc in my neck. Who knew? And so they basically elongated my head and slipped my disc back in. And so then I could knit again. Yay! So I started, it was always, I loved shawls. I always loved shawls. I've knitted, just look at my Ravelry page, I probably knitted 50 of them, and I have some still on the needles. So I thought to myself, let me try and do something. And in the interim, I started working at Picatinny Arsenal, which is up in Morris County, and off of Route 15. And Route 15 is basically right on the way to the Sussex Fair. Yep. So a lot of the people that I worked with were from Sussex County. And we're like, oh, you should put stuff in the fair up here. It's the Jersey State Fair. I was like, oh, okay. So then I started doing that. And, first things first, scope it out. And I don't remember what exactly the first thing was that I put into the Sussex Fair, but it might have been not this particular one, but something like this, a Huggable Hedgehog.
Ah. Oh my goodness.
This one I actually did as a commission. It's got the Florida Seminoles pin on it. And then she wouldn't pay me for it. So I now have a Florida Seminoles Huggable Hedgehog. So, but you can see it's got glitter fun fur for the hair and, different paws. So I did win a ribbon for my Huggable Hedgehog. And I don't have, for some reason, I don't have a picture of the ribbons on the Ravelry page. Don't know why. I've made probably at least 20 of those because they're fast and easy and they're fun. But everybody sees them and they're like, oh, so cute. And that is, I think, what got it. It's not, a regular knitted toy. It's not, and you can see from the size, it's a decent size.
Right.
It's not, like a normal little toy. And this is where strategy comes in a little bit, because I could have put it in the toy division, but they also have a felted category. So do I want to put it in toys or do I want to put it in felted? And I put it in felted, and that's where it won.
Oh, wow.
So,
cool.
Right. So you kind of need to look at all the categories. And this is really the time of year where you want to plan. You still have enough time to knit something.
Yep.
The categories for this year aren't out yet, but you can look at last year's. And sometimes
it's like 4 pages long, like front and back of 2 sheets of paper at least.
Yep. Yep.
There's 100 categories. Maybe?
I don't know if there's that many, but you got, between knit and crochet, and machine knitting. Yeah.
There's a lot of categories.
There are a lot of categories. So that's why, and it has to be knitted, crocheted, whatever, created within, I think it's 2 years. There is a time limit. So you want to keep that in mind. And, how the thing looks, like that's very cute. But you also want to consider finishing. Like one of the other things that I did was it's huge. It's a cape. It's the Irish diamond shawl, it's called, but it's basically a huge square lace thing. It's the size of a full-size bed.
Wow.
And yeah, it took me.
You have a picture of that, right, on your Ravelry?
Yes, there's a picture of it laid out.
I'll put it up here for everybody.
Talking about finishing, one of the things that they mentioned, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see them, is the frog closures.
Yeah.
That I put on. They love those, and I got points for the closures that I chose.
Oh, wow.
Because some people might want to put, buttons or whatever, and I said, let me put some frogs on there, and they actually made a note that the frogs were an excellent choice. So I still only got an honorable mention because they, again, did not, they were not especially impressed with the yarn that I used. The yarn that was called for was a fingering weight, like a mohair type yarn. And I chose a cotton, silk, merino, nylon blend thing, but I wanted something warm. So I didn't want just a pretty shawl. I have lots of pretty shawls. I wanted something that I could put on in the spring when it's a little chilly. And so for my purposes, great. For their purposes, not so much. So you've got to, if you want to win, I just put it in because it was big and would make an impact on the judges. But if you want to win, those little finishing types of things are important. What kind of, am I going to use frogs? Am I going to use a zipper? And you want it to look as close to perfect as you can. So like this other shawl that I also want an honorable mention with is the Summer Flies shawl. A lot of people were doing this a couple of years ago. This one here.
Oh, how pretty. That's
Okay.
eye-catching too.
It's cotton, it's mercerized cotton. And I had the 3 colors. I actually only had, I think, 15 yards of the colors left once I was done with the nasty Pico bind off. But I got this done so close to fair time, it's not blocked. I did a quick steam block,
Right.
but nothing. And you can tell from the edging that it's very curly. And I never got around to it after. And it only got an honorable mention because it's not as finished as what they would want. And I was happy with the honorable mention. I did not expect it. So again, you know, something different. I mean, a cotton shawl like that with that drape, that mercerized cotton is beautiful. But another thing, I had made a whole bunch of hats in Plymouth Alpaca Grande that really, you know, just floppy hats.
Right.
And being alpaca, the way it is, one of them stretched out all over the place. So I decided to felt it.
Oh,
and
wow.
then put some needle felting on the outside. And this is the only thing I will ever needle felt unless I want more blood everywhere. Because I've decided that needle felting is not for me. But this one, I think, honestly, I don't remember which ribbon it won, but it, let me see. I don't have it in my notes.
Did you make that design up yourself? The design that's on it?
Me and the friend who was teaching me had a needle felt.
Oh, cool. It looks so nice. I love it.
So, yep. Yeah, the person who taught me to needle felt, this woman she can do anything. She's amazing. She passed the bar, never practiced law. She didn't feel like it. She was an emergency room nurse. She ran a restaurant. She now she's I don't remember if she's hit 80 yet or not, but she's painting, and she's had her paintings hung in galleries. She weaves. She's amazingly creative. Amazing.
Wow.
She's one of those people that just whatever she sets her mind to, she learns how to do it, and she learns how to do it, and she does it until she does it right.
Yeah.
And she's really, and she's a little fireball. She's, 5-0 and just out there. She's something else. But so, talking about finishing, like this shawl, for some reason, I mentioned in Ravelry that I was taking it to the fair, and I know I won ribbons for it. And anytime I wear it, I wore it to Rhinebeck one year, and everyone was stopping me to ask me about this shawl.
Oh,
and
wow.
This is called the Golden Hazel shawl. Let me make sure I've got the right side facing.
Oh, how pretty. So is that all lace?
It's all lace. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's all, you can see the lace pattern there. And then it,
oh,
the
and
bottom,
cables too. Yeah.
then, oh yeah. Cables too. Yeah. Yeah. And then just a pretty, lacy, pointy thing. But this, there are pictures on my Ravelry page. I actually blocked it on my parents' dining room table, which they were not impressed with. I had to move it, once I had it all pinned out. But, all the edges are, all the, the edging is just so, and the stitches, the spacing, with these points. I actually measured each of the points when I pinned them to make sure they were all exactly the same distance.
Oh, wow. So that's like
So
really putting in that. I mean, I don't know about our viewers, but I normally don't put in that much effort. I'm like, you know, after I get ready in the morning, before I take the kids to school, I've got 5 minutes. Let me like block my shawl.
yeah, this took probably, I want to say several hours. Because once you adjust something, then everything else has to adjust. So
Yeah.
as you're making the arc. So that one, I know I want a good ribbon with that, but I don't, obviously I have all the ribbons somewhere. I haven't unpacked everything yet. So
No
it
worries.
is there. But two other quick things for eye catching, cowls. Ugh, everybody knits cowls. There's probably 20 of them out there at any show where people have knitted this cowl or that cowl. I decided, I'm going to knit a cowl. So I did Braidorama,
Oh, wow.
which is it's got these forget what they're called, Algerian braids or whatever.
Latvian blades? Are they?
And I forget
No?
what yeah, maybe. Maybe. There's all kinds of braids.
Oh, wow.
And color changes and they didn't even, there is a jog in here. I gotta find it. Yeah, you can see the jog, but they didn't even mind that. They didn't think it was all that bad considering the amount of color work.
Right. Yeah.
So, because sometimes if you've got too much of a jog, like in stripy socks or stuff like that, then you're going to get dinged for it. But I think I won a blue ribbon with this. I'm pretty
That's
sure.
pretty spectacular. Wow.
This cowl, and I'm going to give a plug to the person who wrote the pattern, and I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but you
I'll
can
put it
check
on the
it.
bottom down there.
Yeah, it's the Braidorama cowl. And the pattern is written amazingly well. I had never done these braids before.
Oh, wow.
I don't do a lot of, well, at the time, I've done more since, but at the time I was not doing a lot of color work. So, but I saw this at Rhinebeck. I think it was Rhinebeck, Neighborhood Fibers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Kit for it. And I said, you know what? I am going to knit this. I love the colors. I love it's wonderful to wear because the braids make it really squishy and fun, just fun to wear. And, everybody has had something to say about it. And even I'm reasonably sure. Yeah. This is the cast on. It's got a braided cast on even, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
the directions are like I said, they're impeccable. You just do what they say. Don't think about it. Don't try to say, well, I don't understand what they're doing, so I think they want to do this.
Right. Yeah. No.
And then you come out with something gorgeous like this. But the other consideration is, for me anyway, it was, are you a professional or are you not a professional?
Right.
And I am a professional knitter by the rules of the Knitting Guild Association, because I do knit for profit. I knit samples for shops. I do get paid for that. I do. I just finished a sweater, the Boulevard sweater. If you want to look on my Ravelry page, don't ever knit that sweater. Don't. Trust me.
We've talked
Don't.
about that on Knit Night on Wednesdays.
Oh my God. Dude,
If you want the
I'm sorry,
special
people.
insights, come to Knit Night on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I'm sorry for anyone who thinks it's beautiful, because it is, and it's beautiful when it's done. It's a gorgeous sweater. The construction is a nightmare.
For a hand knitter, we were saying, right?
For a hand knitter, yes. For a machine knitter, it probably wouldn't be as bad. But one thing when you're looking at, and this is another thing just about patterns in general. If a pattern has been on Ravelry for 5 years, just pick a long period of time in Ravelry years. It's like in dog years. And it's gorgeous. Like Boulevard, you look at it, it's gorgeous. Only 15 people have made it. Well, there's a reason for that. They may have purchased it and looked at it and went, huh, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So, that's another consideration. When you're trying to plan a pattern, there's intricate, like Braidorama, but fun with good directions. And then there are other things that are not. One of the other, where did I put it? Oh, one of the things, like I said, for me, I'm listed as a professional because I do make some profit from my knitting. It's not enough to keep me in cookies, but I do get some profit from it. So one of the things that is going to narrow the number of people you're up against, because they aren't going to put you up against non-professional knitters. So in some categories, I was the only one.
Right. Yeah.
So ta-da, I win. So, obviously I didn't know that ahead of time, but when you go to look at the results at the end of the day, you see that, there's only me.
Right.
But in Sussex, they do have special awards sometimes for professional knitting. And I did win a special award for my felted braided ball.
Oh, wow.
Which is, and I made a braided ball for Charlie, didn't I?
Yes, for Charlie. We love it.
Yeah. So this is actually done with carry-on that I bought in the shop.
Oh, wow.
So it does felt.
That looks so cool.
And then I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
I put a cat toy in the middle. So when I felted it, it felted around the cat toy. So that way but they were like, they'd never seen anything like it before. And, so I got a really big pink ribbon. I have it hanging in my office at work.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about the fair, I think, is, it's competition, but you get to check out other people's knitting. You get to, you get to stand in line with other knitters so you can chat, when you're going to pick your things up or drop your things off. And as many people as are involved in the fair, they knew my face every year when I would drop things off.
Oh,
They're like,
wow.
oh, you're back. So, because I had interesting things like Huggable Hedgehog, like felted bowls, not a shawl, an Afghan, a pair of socks, which is or a baby sweater. There must be 50,000 baby sweaters every year. And I would not want to be the baby sweater judge, because there were so many, and some of them are gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Still, unless you have that wow factor, that perfect finishing, the best yarn choices that they think should be there, all those factors, unless you have those, you're not going to win in a baby sweater. You might. I'm not saying you won't, but the chances are against you. Same with socks. Lots of socks. There's socks all over the place.
So what do you think are like the most competitive categories for a amateur knitter? And what are maybe some of those that have a little bit less competition?
Well, shawls, obviously, there are always a lot of shawls. I don't know if you saw the shawl rack. They have like this wooden thing set up with all the shawls hung over them. Lots of shawls, lots of Afghans, crocheted Afghans. There were tables full of them.
Yeah, just stacks of
stacks of them with big signs on them. Please do not touch. And all day long, it's don't touch the Afghans, don't touch the Afghans, don't touch the Afghans. There are quite a few socks, toys. Those for some reason, one year there were a whole bunch of those crocheted toilet paper covers. No idea why. One year there were like 20 of them. I was just like, oh, okay, is this the 60s? Am I in a time warp? So, but when you get into things like toys, ornaments, felted specialty categories, like felted things, I think accessories were all in one category. So you had hats, cowls, that kind of thing. Scarves were separate. And scarves, they're another one that bounce year to year. Some years there's a ton of scarves, and other years it's like you'll have 10 scarves to choose from. So, but really look at the categories. Think about it. Think about what you're best at. Think about what you want to push yourself towards, because you get good feedback on those cards. Sometimes you wonder, but you can ask. If you don't understand what someone's talking about, ask a question, because
you get feedback from who the judges are. Like you don't
necessarily know who the judges are, but you know who the ladies at the table are, and they have insight into what the judges, they were standing there when the judges were judging, and they're listening. So, and if you have a piece that is cute, eye-catching, they're gonna remember those pieces too, and they're gonna remember what the judges said about them. So, I mean, one of the things that my cat ate it, so I can't show it to you, but there's like a pot of you'll see it on my Ravelry page. There's a pot, and there are these plants that I knitted. They're based on art by a friend of mine's cousin. He does artwork for children's books. Yeah. And it's like they were monsters. And my friend kind of made up a pattern, and I test knitted it for her. And I won a prize with that. I won a ribbon. So I set it down, and the woman's looking at it going, what category is that? And I think it was miscellaneous.
Oh, wow.
I think there was in the everything else that we couldn't think of category. And of course I won a ribbon for that. But most of all, yes, it's a competition. Yes, you want to win, but you also want to have some fun. Show off a little bit, right. Hey, I did this really cool thing.
Knit something you're going to enjoy knitting.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Don't knit
or
something.
Crochet. Yeah. Crochet something you're going to enjoy. Yeah.
Right. And that does, some people are like, oh, you're just, it's mechanical, whatever. No. If I didn't enjoy knitting it, I'm not going to make sure that every stitch looks good. I'm gonna be like, oh, I just want it done, and it's not gonna be as finished and as nice as it could be. And I mean, I knit things that I want to wear or that I want to, set on the shelf and look at. Like my hedgehog. He's in
Yeah.
my closet. I have a walk-in closet. So he's right on in the closet right next to my sweatshirts that I wear every day. So he's sitting there and every morning it's, hi dude. I should name him. I haven't named him yet.
Oh, no, I was actually curious, like, so you showed us the red shawl. Was that like the thing you're most proud of ever that was in the fair?
That one, that one was really not even like work until I was blocking it. I did that one in it's a cashmere blend. Oh goodness. Shalazar. I forget the name of it. It's a Shalazar yarn anyway. It's a cashmere blend. I mean, I got the yarn off a clearance rack.
Best place to shop.
Best place. I would, but I mean, knitting with it, that's the other thing. I mean, I'm not saying you can't win using Red Heart yarn or, an acrylic yarn, but the selection of your yarn counts. Which, what's best for what you're doing. Obviously, if you're knitting a baby sweater that baby is going to use, you're probably going to go with something acrylic or cotton, something that's easy care.
Yes.
You're knitting it for the fair, you may want to go with something a little better, a Mrs. Crosby or a Rowan or something that's a little higher end, softer to the touch. Because you got to think the judges are handling it. They're picking it up. They're feeling how squishy it is. They're feeling how soft the yarn is. They're feeling all of these things. So, you don't want, if I'm going to give them a cashmere shawl,
yeah,
and I'm going to give them an acrylic shawl, which one is going to win?
Yeah.
If they both have the same good finishing, they both have the same good needlework, they both have a great color, that tactile quality counts.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's and in the case of a baby sweater, okay, you knit up a cashmere baby sweater, baby's going to wear that.
Hey, to be fair, I brought my baby home in a cashmere.
Well, okay, yeah, they wear it for pictures, and
right.
They look beautiful in it. But it's not going in the washing machine when they puke up on it or anything,
I had actually noodled about entering Teddy's coming home outfit, which I did the Woolfolk little bitty collection. Like I did the whole collection: bonnet, outfit, pants, booties. But I don't know. He came 2 weeks early, and I got a little skimpy on the finishing at the very end. So I don't know. I might have to go tweak some things.
Well, this is the thing. The first time you enter, you're not likely to win. Yeah. I mean, you're likely to get some great feedback. And if you're going in your first time thinking you're going to win, I mean, you might, because you may be the best knitter on the planet, but chances are there are people like me there who are planning and plotting to take that first place, using all of the background that we gathered from all of those years where we didn't win.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
so what were some, I think you had mentioned, tips from the times you maybe didn't win. Well, I know at least from dancing too, like the information you learn when you don't win can be more valuable than what you don't learn when you do win, because when you win,
Yeah,
you're like,
absolutely.
okay, great, that was good. When you don't win, it's like, how do I improve? Which gives
Yeah.
you
How do
something
you
to
get
grow
better?
on next time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, a lot of it is, you know, sometimes it's the intangibles. It's the yarn choice. It's the color, you know, like maybe, okay, they dinged me with yarn choice for this guy. I mean, it's a beautiful lace shawl, and it's, you know, well constructed and well knitted and all of those good things, but it's an olive color. Maybe
Yep.
they didn't like that either. They don't like that it's bamboo. Maybe it's too drapey, but it's also kind of a drab color, as opposed to this guy that's not a
Right.
drab color, you know? So, but you know, I had it in mind for a particular thing. I wear a lot of black. I'm not wearing black today. I'm wearing my Ursa Minor sweater in unicorn tickles. But
Yeah.
um but you know, that's all factors that go into it. And
I noticed
really,
you have I noticed you have a lot of solid colors too. What do you think? What is
yes.
your observation like solid colors versus hand dyed, which we love so much because
Oh,
they're
we do love the hand dyed,
so
and
eye
that's the
catching?
thing, right? But um my forte is lace shawls. You don't want to use a variegated with a lace, because the lace gets lost, and they're going to ding you for that. Even if it looks pretty, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If you're doing a sweater like an Ursa Minor, like this plain top down kind of sweater, probably for this one that I knit is probably not fair material, because it's just too plain. But that looks fine, as long as you don't get, and that's the other thing you got to watch for, is something like pooling. Unless you're going to do a planned pooling thing where the pools actually form a pattern or something like that. If you knit something and there's a huge pooling spot right in the middle, you know, over somebody's boob or something,
Yeah.
then you know, we've all seen it. We have all seen it.
The big flash
Probably,
that comes across.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. You know, look like Miss America or something.
Yeah.
Um, you know, your yarn choice matters. It matters. Swatch that puppy. What
Yep.
does it look like actually knitted up? It's beautiful. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Like, okay, I don't think I ever entered the Pincha shawl in the one that I had in the shop.
Yep.
You know, that was yarn barf yarn. I mean, or clown barf yarn.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Liqueur Fluoro is, I mean, short repeats of bright colors, but you pick a pattern that accentuates the yarn. And I mean, that Pincha shawl, you know, it looks gorgeous. I
Yes.
mean,
Yep. I'll
and
put a picture in
I,
here. It's so
yeah, and I
cool.
mean, I can say that I did not. I mean, I did not create that. The Pincha shawl is a free pattern, and I've made several of them. It's amazing. It is the perfect pattern for clown barf yarn. And there are other patterns. There are other patterns like that 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 take a busy yarn and work it.
Yeah.
Um, but they are not. They're few and far between. Let me say. Okay. It is harder to win with something that's busy, because it's hard for them to see the construction, you know, if there's lace, it's going to get lost. Even if there's cables, sometimes those get lost. All the details that make plain knitting, you know, up that next level,
Right.
you know. And there's like, you know, if anybody ever does like the Knitting Guild Association Masters program, all of their stuff is light worsted weight yarn. Any of the samples you do, light colored worsted weight yarn. That's what they want. all the samples to be in, because it's easy to see the construction. It's easy to see what you're doing. It's easy to read the knitting.
Yep.
And the more you move away from that light color solid, the harder it is for them to see, what did you do? How did you do this? And that's part of their judging, is how did you do this? Did you just, how is this put together? Like Shetland shawls. This is something I will never do. You knit the inside part of the shawl, then you knit the border, and then you sew the border on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the traditional Shetland shawl. So if you didn't do it that way, they're going to ding you for it if you're calling it a Shetland shawl. But if they can't see that you did it that way, they're going to assume that you didn't.
Right.
They're not going to assume that you did. They're not going to fall on the side of, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. No. Nope.
Wow.
So all those little, and that's what, that's something else that makes a difference between a juried and a non-juried show. Like a juried show, they're going to know those things. A non-juried show, they're going to go, oh, it's a pretty Shetland shawl, whether it really is a Shetland shawl or not. And the same thing with Fair Isle. Fair Isle, maximum 2 colors per row. If you're doing color work that has more than 2 colors per row, it's not considered Fair Isle in the traditional sense.
Right.
So if you're calling your item, and this is the thing, you got to name your item. You got to tell them what the name of it is. So if you're calling it Fair Isle Cowl, and you've got 3 colors in one row, and if it's a juried show, they will check. They're going to look for that. You're going to get points off for that.
Huh.
Because, because this is, there are definitions to these things. If you call something brioche, it's got to have brioche stitch in it. It can't be faux brioche or, knit one below looking brioche. It's gotta be brioche. So, and, thank you, Amanda, for taping this so that way people can listen to it over and over again. Because I know I'm kind of spitting out a lot of stuff, but there are a lot of things to consider as you decide whether or not you're going to compete. I looked at the state fair out here, the farm show. I was shocked by how little there actually was in the knitting competitions. I haven't competed yet because, with COVID and moving out here and everything else, I just haven't gotten it together. But I do.
The last 2 years.
Well, that's it. That's exactly it. Between moving, a new job, COVID, everything else, I just haven't been able to compete out here. But when I walked by the knitted stuff, I was just like, that one first place. Okay. So, I did the head tilt thing, like the puppy I was babysitting last weekend. So I feel good about my chances out here compared to Jersey.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just, if I were quilting, I would feel differently, because out here with Amish, the quilting is cutthroat. It is cutthroat.
Wow.
Oh man, you do not, unless you are amazing, don't even bother, because these people have been quilting. Some of these people have been quilting before they could walk. They were holding a needle in their hand. So, and gorgeous, just gorgeous. I love the quilts. That was one of the beautiful things in Sussex, is you have the knitwear on the ground and then you've got the quilts hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
Just beautiful. The presentation is beautiful. But you come out here and you're like, wow, it's a different world. It's a different world. But exactly the opposite as far as knitwear goes, which
Well, that's
I
so
was,
interesting. Now
yeah,
you'll have
yeah,
to, I can't wait to hear what you entered this year. I'm
yeah.
sure
Farm
we'll,
show already happened. Farm show happened.
oh,
Farm
it
show happens
did.
in January. Yeah, it happens in
January. Oh,
January.
wow.
Yeah. So
Oh, I
yeah,
guess that makes
I
sense. Like between seasons. So it doesn't
yeah,
like,
well that's it. They got their, yeah. The cows are, they actually have an area where the cows are giving birth. They
oh,
have,
wow.
yeah, they have cows that are in calving right there at the show. You can watch the calving happen.
That's
It's
okay.
okay.
I've been to lambing before and
Yeah, it's
I mean,
okay.
I've had 7 of my own. So that's like
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
It's
You don't
enough.
need any more graphic design that way.
Know how it
But,
works.
yeah, they have the, I forget what she's called. She's not the dairy queen, but she's like the cow queen or something like that of the show. Um, so yeah, but yeah, we have farm show out here. I don't know if there are other, like, I live in Cumberland County out here. I don't know if there's a Cumberland County fair. I have to kind of find out some of that. I mean, yeah, there's a Newville fair. I live in Newville. But I doubt they have a knitting contest at the Newville fair. They have a car show.
There you go.
But yeah, we have, there's a fountain in the middle of town and we have fountain festival.
Oh,
So
fun.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is fun. It's a nice little community, and yeah, I recommend everybody come to Pennsylvania. It's less traffic, fewer people who are in a hurry with nowhere to go, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I get it. But less Yarnia too. So
less, definitely less Yarnia. Yeah, the
like,
closest.
so I think I'm planning to enter the Sussex County, the New Jersey State Fair this year, which I think entries, don't you have to turn your entries in July? And then then you get them back in August or something.
It's a couple of weeks ahead of time. So they have,
right.
they can look at everything and plan how they're going to set it up and all that.
Right.
And then that Sunday, the last day of the fair, you have to be there.
Right.
And at the end of the fair, and you stand in line with your little number and get to the, and they pull the stuff. They have runners go and get the stuff. So
yeah. So I hope I think it would be really fun to have a group of us from Yarnia who are going together. Maybe we'll have little Team Yarnia shirts, something like that, and go up on Sunday to get all of our stuff. Have some pretzels and brats and all the other good fair food.
All the fair food, yeah.
Right?
There's every year when I would go, there was I remember it was the fireman or something had roast beef sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a place, I can't remember what it was, had cheese French toast.
Oh.
It was sandwich with French toast, but had cheese in the middle.
Oh my goodness.
It was so good.
Oh my goodness.
God.
So
You can
good.
smell them. When you go past them, it's like, oh my God, I got to have one of those. Oh, so good.
Well, Eric wanted a pretzel, and we were walking down not the midway, but down the row where there's all the food carts. Mm-hmm. And he stopped and he was like, I want a pretzel. And then when he turned around,
you guys were gone.
We were gone. Yes. So he got lost. I ended up talking to an EMT, trying to find him. But then as we were just about to get on the loudspeaker, I guess some teenage girls had found him and were bringing him to the EMT station. So we were reunited, no incident, except my kid learned to keep up with mom when he's in a crowded place.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was at the Somerset 4-H fair when I don't know how old I was little. And my mom gave me money to go get, I think it was cotton candy or something. And there was a tank there. Now, it's big, okay? Yeah. Come back to the tank, we'll be here, okay? So I went, got my cotton candy, came back. They're not at the tank. Don't know where they are. And I'm pissed. And somebody sees me and they're like, where's your mom, dad? I don't know. They were supposed to be here. And so they take me to this, place where they have a loudspeaker or whatever. And this is like in the 60s, early 70s. So it's not like they have, internet or anything. So they announced that they found this little girl. She won't tell them what her name is because she's mad. So they describe what I'm wearing, and my parents come over and they pick me up. They're like, why didn't you tell them your name? Because you weren't where you were supposed to be.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
So pissed. Oh well. It was pretty funny. I was a handful.
Yeah, I've lost a couple at various times. I mean, my second daughter, we were at the airport and she had finished, like, I had 3 by myself and I was flying, and she finished her ice cream sandwich and I'm like, well, go put your wrapper in the trash right there, like 10 meters away, turn around and come back. And I watch her go. She got to the trash can. I turn around because her like 2-year-old sister's doing something. I turn back. She went somewhere else. She went to another gate. We were at the airport. So she just like went to a different gate, didn't like turn straight around and come back. But yeah, I mean, she talked to like one of the desk stewardesses or whatever. She was easy to find, but like,
still,
come on, kids.
Which airport?
Newark.
Oh, I love Newark.
But it was like Terminal A, where like once you go in, you're in an enclosed space. Yeah, so it's not like you can go anywhere.
Right. Yeah, it's not like Atlanta where could be anywhere.
Or even C, because C is like you can go anywhere once you're in there. It's like once you're through security, there's only 8 gates or whatever. So
right, whatever. Yeah, I know Newark really well. I've been in and out of there a million times. And Atlanta, I know Atlanta really well too. In and out of there. But yeah, my very favorite airport though is Phoenix. I love Phoenix Airport.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I love the way I like the way the rental car works. I like the ease in and out of there. It's just I don't know what it is about Atlanta, Phoenix, Sky Harbor. I just love that airport.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I'm going to go home and cook dinner. Right. Is there anything, any like words of wisdom you want to leave folks with?
Just have fun with it. Have fun with it. Don't make your expectations cloud, what should be a fun experience. You're showing off to other people who know what they're looking at, and you're proud of yourself. You're proud that you finished it. You're proud of how it looks. And, regardless of what the judges say, there's no reason not to be proud of it, even if you don't win. If you don't win, that's not saying that you didn't create something beautiful. So, learn something new, have fun with it, and just do it. Do it. You can do it.
I think that's awesome advice. Thank you so much, Edith, for talking to me today.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Bye, everybody.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview just as much as I did. Isn't Edith amazing? She certainly gave me ideas for things to enter in this year's state fair. If that sounds like something you would like to do too, check down below. I'm going to put some information about New Jersey's state fair. And then if you're not in New Jersey, there's a state fair near you. And I'll also put some information on how to find out about your own state fair and how to compete. So stay tuned. I'm sure on upcoming Chronicles of Yarnia podcast, there will be more information, more updates on what I'm going to knit for the state fair. If you'd like to see some more footage of our visit to the state fair last year with me and my kiddos, stay tuned. There's a few more clips. Bye.